Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to number two. Kind of one of my specialties, as you know, is my OCD nature is to be organized. And one of those important places is absolutely positively the warehouse. So we're going to kind of show you what we've been up to in our place. We're making some major changes and then kind of give you just some general keys to help you do the same at your place. We thought we had a pretty darn tight warehouse, but again, we're experiencing some fairly rapid growth right now, so we're really running out of room and buying a lot more equipment, and just we really thought we were going to have to move into the place next door and expand the company, which ultimately we will, but this latest change in the warehouse I think will stall that and save us some money and allow us to stay without expanding for a little bit longer. There's probably a lot more space that you have in your warehouse that you might not know is there, and that certainly is the case in what we found. Here's some pictures of kind of what the place looked like before. Most of you have been here and kind of know what it looks like. That was the standard configuration. Kind of pay close attention to that center row where the dehumidifiers are. That's where we really picked up a tremendous amount of extra storage space. We made the majority of the changes down that center row and then to the set of shelves that's to your left, but out of this picture. For those of you who are familiar with the place, that's where we really made our two major changes. So down this center section, and then that section to the far wall there is the other place where we made a minor change that gave us a tremendous amount of more linear footage of shelving over there. So you can see those shelves on that back wall are looking pretty packed and stacked, and literally we didn't have room to put one more darn thing in the place. Now, unfortunately, to do this, it's one of those deals where it's probably going to have to get a lot worse before it gets any better. So this was kind of some of the during pictures. Some of this was just a bunch more equipment that we ordered and had to try to find a place to store. But this is kind of the skeleton of what we worked on and did over that center row. Basically, trying to take advantage of the cubic footage or go up because we really didn't have any more room on the floor. We built a whole series of shelves over the top of those dehumidifiers. It worked out to be super cool. You'll see in the after pictures, but not only did we gain all that extra space that was previously pretty much wasted, but we were able to really put a center focus on the shop. Since our trucks can come in on either side, one of the things that's a little bit difficult for the guys, especially when all the trucks are in here, is having to go all the way to one side or the other to get the stuff that they need to stock their truck. So we're trying to get as many of the larger and heavy use items in the center of that shop as we possibly can, so that no matter which side of the shop the guys are parked on, it's easier to load or unload their truck. So, just kind of some of the things you think about as you go. Now you can see this center section starting to take shape here. It's not quite done yet, but you can see that we were able to gain those two extra shelves down that whole span of the middle of the office, which gave us a tremendous amount of storage room. Here it's getting a little bit closer to done, and you're really kind of able to see what we were able to gain as far as linear footage of storage across that center row. Now you'll see in this picture that back row is still unchanged, and that's the part we're actually working on now, but we do have some pictures to kind of show you at least what it's shaping up to be, even though it's not quite done. But just kind of take a look at that back wall shelf, how it's just standard straight wall shelving across the back. And you'll see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shelves in there right now, plus that little one where the refrigerator is. So we basically had 6 8-foot units in that space when we took this picture. There's a little closer shot. So of course we had to rip everything off the shelf. That was fun. But what we did, and you can start to see it take shape a little bit here, is you see that we turned those shelves sideways and made little aisles for access in between each set of 2 shelves. So it literally allowed us to almost double the amount of shelving we had in virtually almost the same space. We did use a little bit more floor space, but we gained a tremendous amount of linear footage of shelving space in the process. So after is where we're at right now. Again, we're not quite done yet. We've probably got another 3 or 4 weeks before it's, ultimately where we want it to be, but it's really starting to take some pretty good shape. You can see that center row is worked out very, very well. There's a lot of stuff on there that's easy for the crews to get to, whichever side of the shop they happen to be on. And you can kind of see how turning those shelves and double stacking them gave us so much more linear footage, and how much extra room we have now, even though that's not just the same amount of stuff that's on those shelves. There's a lot more because we bought a lot more equipment since that first round of pictures was taken. And to answer the question that some of you are probably asking in your head right now, yes, we really like the new Dri-Ease Velo fans. So on these far wall sections, this is an example of one of the aisles I was talking about. There's sections that we tried to make. So we try to get all of our wall drying stuff in sections, and then hardwood floor drying stuff in sections, so it's easy for the crew to know where things are at. So this part's not quite done, but this is ultimately going to be the wall drying section. So in those bags is either manifolds or hoses, depending on the bag, and you'll see that there's either a little yellow piece of tape or orange piece of tape on each of those bags. That's just a visual clue on whether the bag is full of manifolds or full of hoses. So here's the hardwood section as it fits now. We've got bins for all the parts, our normal pull-out stocking drawer section there that you see pulled out so the guys can build their bags. Those bags that are up on the top are what actually goes into the truck. That's everything they need to set up a hardwood machine, minus obviously the machine and the mat, but it's all the interconnecting hoses and manifolds and things of that nature. This is the other side of that hardwood deal. So when you walk into this little aisle, to your left or to your right is virtually everything that you need for your hardwood floor drying outside of the actual machines. You can see that we're able to build a lot of extra or room to grow since we redid the shop. This is a little kind of a closer shot on that Velo shelf. This is a new section that we added to the shop. As some of you know from watching prior First Wednesday presentations, one of the things we're doing as a part of our growth is becoming very aggressive on doing our wholesaler lunches. And in fact, we now do 5 wholesaler lunches per month at 5 different wholesalers. So virtually every Wednesday of the month plus one Tuesday of the month, we're doing a wholesaler lunch. So actually we got one going on here today that's going to start in about a half an hour. Obviously that exposed some weaknesses in our company, and we really needed a way to be able to process a lot of drinks, a lot of forks, a lot of plates, a lot of promo items. So we kind of built this wholesaler event or outside event marketing section where all the stuff that they need is stocked and inventoried so they can get that truck loaded up and get that event going pretty quickly and easily. So down the left side here, you'll see that the coolers are down at the bottom. The center row is sodas and chips. The top row there, inside those bins, that's those, I think they call them chafing dishes, or the serving dishes that we serve the actual food out of at the event. Down the right side, you'll see the water, and then those bins actually contain all the promo items. And what we've done, I'll show you a couple pictures here, but basically we've just made little handout bags of each promo item so we can keep it very structured and organized and easily hand the person the promo items, not have it a self-serve such situation where they can kind of get in there and rob you of all your stuff, but more of a predetermined amount of promos that each person gets that we select to get them. We don't put them out where they can just grab them. When you do these wholesaler events, as many of you know from doing them, not every person that goes is really your target. So we actually have the girls just hand them out to the people that we want to get them. We still have business cards and magnets and some basic stuff on a table that they can just grab, but the critical stuff we have kind of more ready to go. So that's what those bins look like. Of course, there's a load list on there. And each of those bins contains, I think, 100 bags ready to go, or 50 bags. That's kind of what it looks like all loaded up. The clear bags are kind of hard to see, but you can kind of tell there that each of those are bagged up. And then there's the fridge. Plus, those are the load lists for each event. So that's everything that they need to take along to each event to make it easy for them to get that stuff ready to go. And then, of course, the fridge. We like to have the drinks cold before we put them in the ice chest. So in summary, you know, our favorite saying around here is a place for everything and everything in its place. And I truly think that's the key to having a successful, organized office or warehouse for that matter. Some of the keys to think about: focus on the cubic footage. You're going to run out of floor space really, really quick. And the best way to get a lot of stuff in a small area is to go up and do it as safely and as organized as you possibly can. Absolutely, positively, the best way to keep it organized is that there's only one place anything can go. And in order to accomplish that, those things need to A, only fit there, and B, have a label so absolutely everybody knows where this thing's supposed to go. There's no question. There's not two places it can go. There's only one. It's predetermined and it's labeled. From the big stuff like your DUs all the way down to your AAA batteries, everything needs to have a predetermined and marked location. Try to keep those similar items together so it's easier for your crews to work out of that shop. Keep it accessible as you possibly can. And always use that PAR inventory system that we have chronicled in one of the other First Wednesdays. If you missed that one, it is absolutely available on the new members area of our new website. Totally worth watching. Great way to make sure that you have enough inventory at all times, but don't spend too much money doing it. It's a very real-time process. It's a pretty cool way to keep an inventory system on your shop.